He has taken a shot, at least one shot, in his last 25 games. I said this last season, every time I covered Chelsea, the problem is not scoring goals. The problem was conceding goals. And this season, it's sort of been the same story. Tottenham have actually had more corners than any other team in the league. Wayne Rooney, I can see that one being over 1.5 goals. Good goal scoring team. They've scored away from home in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. Welcome back, football fans, to another episode of the Predictions Show with me, your host, Joe. Nice to see you again. We've got Premier League, game week 4. That's what we're going to be looking at today. We're going to be putting some bet builders together, and if you're a regular of the channel, you will know that the bet builders in the Premier League have done very, very well, and even during the international break. Last weekend, we had a treble on the EFL, didn't we? And that won 4.33 odds. Or was it 3.44? I have to go back and watch. And we had some very, very good Premier League wins the previous time it was on. And the bet builders on Sunday in particular, very, very good. So as you can see, we've got a lot of EFL football to play. So we're going to put together another treble. So in this one, preview and predictions. And I'll look at all of the data for the Premier League and also the Championship and beyond. And without further ado, let's get into it. Can this video get over 5,000 likes? You are in control of that, my friend. Hit like, hit subscribe if you've not subscribed already. And I have a question for you. On Sunday, it is the North London derby. Arsenal are going to be without Rice, without Ødegaard. It's going to be a tough old game. Havertz potentially playing in midfield. My question to you is, who's going to win the North London derby? Get your thoughts, comments, predictions in the comments. Anything goes. Let me know what you think is going to happen in the game. Who's going to score? What's the score prediction going to be? I think we could see maybe a 2-2. Similar to the last game, wasn't it? Where Romero, did he get sent off and score an own goal? He had a bad day, didn't he? I remember that one. Right, let's get into this Premier League game week 4. So just before we start with the analysis, I want to show you a few things that I've added to the website recently. And the player props tool here, which was a new addition last month, you can expect to see this later in the video as we look at the Premier League, of course. What I've added to this now is this button at the top that says all fixtures. So all of the games you see here, you can click on one of them. Let's click on this Royal Paris game here. And we'll see all of the players ranked by the stat that I'm picking. I was just looking at tackles. So tackles across the last 365 days, 58 for this man in 32 games, which is not bad for him. And all of these games, the qualifier now, I've made it a bit more simple. It used to be that shot markets were available. Now it's just goal scorer markets. So if I wanted to type in Blackpool, you can see that they're there now because goal scorer markets are available. So what this has done in the last sort of 24, 48 hours has turned this from a tool that was looking at about 10,000 players to 60,000 or above. And this button at the top makes it even more powerful because now that you know that, you can click it, all fixtures, and what it's going to do is go away and all of those games that are live on Bet365 right now, it will show you all of the players in all of those squads ranked by the stat of your choice. So the top dog for tackles, João Paulinho, of course. What a player he is. Miss him in the Premier League. And he doesn't always start for Bayern Munich at the moment, to be honest. Caicedo up there, as you can expect. McAllister up there as well. Made plenty of tackles against Manchester United the other week. So that is the updates to the player props tool. You can find this in the pinned comment on this video if you want to check it out this weekend. Very, very useful tool. And I'll just show you one more thing as well that's been added recently, and I don't think I've shown this on video. If we want to look at Paulinho's recent data, you can now click on his little icon there, little person icon, and you can see the breakdown from his last 20 games. You can see all the data there. You can quickly toggle for the averages as well, and you can just toggle to, let's say, last 50 games if you wanted to, and it'll go away and it will update. And you can see 38 starts in the last 50, of course, most of them for Fulham. You can get a breakdown of his most recent games, and then you can go into them and see, you know, how many tackles, how many fouls, etc. And you can, of course, see that he is 29 years old and he is Portuguese, and his last game was on the 8th of September. The second update is to the XG page. It is now using the most recent data for all of the latest seasons, and we can see by default you've got this combined view which shows you the best teams in the major leagues, and more leagues coming to this page in the next week or so as well. So Barcelona top of the pile for XG, but they have played one more game than Liverpool. 3.09 per 90, Liverpool not far behind. If we look at expected goals against, Getafe are top of the pile, 0.47. They've conceded just once. Juventus, Dortmund, Heidenheim, Liverpool, all no goals conceded so far, and fair play to Juventus and Liverpool, who have played 3 games compared to the German teams, who are on 2. So that's the XG page, and one feature that I really like about it is the fixtures tab, where you can see a breakdown of the fixtures with the XG per 90 now. Of course, we've only played 3 games or 2 games, depending on the league. So this is a page that gets better as the season gets deeper and deeper. But you can already see there, Heidenheim 2.13 against Dortmund, 1.42. Slightly surprising. And you can break this down by league if you want. If you wanted to just look at the Premier League, you can see we've got Southampton against Man United, 1.61, 1.27. Liverpool, Forest. Forest, interesting stat about Forest. I was saving it for the Premier League section, but why not now? They've taken more shots than any other team in the Premier League this season. I thought that was an interesting stat. You would usually just gravitate towards Arsenal, Liverpool, City, Chelsea. In the past couple of seasons, you might have said Haaland's had more shots than Forest on his own. So the final update that I wanted to share in this video is to the Bet of the Day page. Now, this itself is a new page, launched last month or the month before, I think. And it was a nice grid of games ranked by the probability model. So by default, you're looking at full-time result. We can change this to BTTS, double chance, whatever you want. But now what I've added is a visual guide, bit of visual feedback that clearly shows you the value bets as you scroll. So you can see there are quite a few value bets. This is just for today. This is for Thursday. If we go to Saturday, we can see that there are also some value bets here. We can click show more. It's going to load and continue the feed. And you can just keep going and just see what you find. See if you find any golden nuggets. So Southampton versus Manchester United, and Manchester United here 1.7 for the win. And for this one, I want to take you to the player props tool. There is some debate, isn't there? Ugarte, he's on his way back to England, probably as we speak. Casemiro, terrible against Liverpool, but he will be well rested. No doubt he's probably been made to watch his mistakes over and over again, and then he's been training. Bruno Fernandes, he found his shooting boots once more in the international break, and he has taken a shot, at least one shot, in his last 25 games, in his last 25 starts. He was on the bench against Georgia there, as you can see. But he hasn't scored for Man United yet this season. So what I was thinking is to score or assist. I was gravitating towards Fernandes or Xerxes. In my mind as well, Fernandes, these are the kind of games where he does step up. It's not necessarily, a 3-4-0 home victory. It's those kind of scrappy 1-0 away wins where he will be the one to turn it on and bring that bit of magic that Man United need. Another interesting stat as well, Kyle Walker-Peters has been fouled an awful lot in the last 365 days. Of course, a lot of that was in the Championship. If we look at the last 10 games, he is still top of the pile. Paul Anucha, no chance of playing. He has been sort of outcast at Southampton. Didn't get his move in the summer. Mason Mount injured. Kobe Mainu coming back from international duty. He is going to start though, so he could be a good option for a foul. There's also some decent lines for passes, but I'm not too sure on passes. We'll talk about that now as we jump to Bet365. So Southampton, 4.5 for the victory. Will they score? What do you think about this game? Southampton looking for their first point in the Premier League this season. Let's take a look at the Bet Builder options, shall we? So Xerxes expected to start. He scored and set one up for Netherlands in that first game of the international break, and then didn't play in the next game. So interesting international break for him. De Ligt as well had a pretty bad international break, getting hauled off at half time. If we look at to score or assist, Fernandes was 1.8. As I say, these are the kind of games where he does step up. Marcus Rashford, talking about stepping up, Marcus Rashford needs to step up to score or assist, for him to silence the haters and the doubters. Evens, I quite like that. Garnacho has been on international duty, of course. Rashford has been training, working hard, posting videos on social media. So we'll just take a quick look at Rashford on the player props tool. Last 25 games here, he started 20, he scored 4 goals, and he set up 2 goals. If we scroll down here to look at shots on target, 0.48 per game. Total shots, 1.4 per game. So he's taking shots. Successful dribbles, 0.8 per game. There is something not quite right with Marcus Rashford, isn't there? But will he bounce back? Can he bounce back? Will he score? Used to take penalties, didn't he? But Fernandes, of course, now all over penalties. And that is why I'm going to go for 1.8 here as the base of this bet builder. Let's have a look at some other markets. So in terms of fouls, I am thinking of a couple of players. Flynn Downs plays in the middle. Going to be busy in there with Casemiro and Mainu and Ugarte potentially. Southampton will look to keep the ball. I think they really will. So fouls for Man United players are not out of the question as well. Bednarak, no player has got more yellow cards than him in the last year. He's got 15 yellow cards in the last year. So for that, I actually quite fancy it. And he fouled against Brentford and he fouled against Forest. He's been on international duty, but just in Europe. So I'm sure he will keep his place in the team. He is a defender, of course, 28 years old, up against Dalot, up against Ahmad, up against Rashford, up against Garnacho potentially. So yeah, getting stretched, moving across, committing a foul, you can absolutely see it. So Bednarak to commit a foul and Fernandes to score or assist. He is definitely due a goal for Man United, and I know that's not, anything backed by data. Now, the final line I'm going to add to this is Southampton to have an offside, a single offside in the game. I think that's pretty good odds here because Man United's defence is not the quickest, especially the centre-backs, and Adam Armstrong does look to spring that offside trap quite often, whereas Man United will try and play him offside rather than keeping up with him, So 4s then for Manchester United away at Southampton, and we are relying on Bruno Fernandes to score or assist, to up it, to bring his international form back to Man United. And I've seen him so many times in these types of games, pull them out of the mud. And Bednarak to commit a foul. Remember, no player has more yellow cards across the last 365 days. And a single offside for Southampton. I think that's great value, given the way that they will try and play and try and pick their moments, and Man United as well with those not too quick centre-backs, De Ligt and Maguire, regardless of which one it is that plays next to Martinez. Martinez coming back from international duty as well, is interesting. So 4s, let me know what you think about that in the comments, and I just want to show you a potential single as well for this game. So Martinez, Lisandro Martinez, the centre-back, I know, to have a shot, 2.5, but if we look and we find him, Lisandro Martinez, and we open his profile, we can see that in the last 3 games, he's actually had at least 1 shot. He had 3 shots against Chile. One of them was on target. I think he was playing left back for Argentina, so bear that in mind, of course, but he did have a shot against Liverpool. I just thought that was something interesting that you might want to put on as a bit of a fun one, because he has had a shot in his last 3 games. But if you look back throughout his Man United career in recent times, it's not like he's taken shots every game, so the odds are probably correct. So let's take a look at some of the other games. I will just go over them briefly, give some brief predictions before heading to another game. We'll take one more from Saturday, look at it in detail, put another bet builder together, and then we will head over to Sunday because it is the North London derby, and I definitely wanted to cover that one. So Man City, Brentford. Brentford have been a bit of a bogey team, haven't they, in recent years when they had Ivan Toney for Man City, but this one, Man City at home this season, the way that De Bruyne's playing, the way that the Savio's come in and he's been electric. Hopefully he starts, because I brought him into my fantasy team and then he just didn't play. Right? I brought him in, he hasn't played, and now what do? Do I keep him? Do I sell him again? If I sell him, he's going to play and he's going to score. So I brought him in and hopefully he scores, does the business. Haaland probably to score. Let's just have a quick look. 3 or more. He's 8 to get a hat-trick. 8 to get a hat-trick, and it would be history made, because no player has ever scored 3 consecutive hat-tricks in the Premier League. Will he do it? I don't think he will. To be honest. I think Brentford will set up well, as they always do at Man City. They'll have Wissa and Burmo on the break. Wouldn't surprise me if Brentford did score in this game, but Man City, obviously, as they showed against Ipswich, when Ipswich went and scored on the break, they'll just go and score 2-3 goals in 10 minutes. It doesn't matter. Liverpool Forest, I expect Liverpool to win this game. Liverpool looking very, very good, controlling games. If there was a good time to play City and Brentford. It is probably now after the international break when the players are probably not fresh. They've not had so many training sessions, and Arne Slot and Pep Guardiola will be very aware of that. So these games might start a little bit slower. Bear that in mind. All of the games might start slower depending on the amount of players that have been involved in the international break. Fulham, West Ham. London derby there, another London derby this weekend. BTTS in that one, I'm feeling. Maybe a 2-2 draw there. Palace, Leicester, we've not had a 0-0 this season, but that one for me screams that it could be 0-0. Brighton, Ipswich, again, Brighton have got a few players coming back from international duty in South America. João Pedro was called up to the Brazilian squad, played 45 minutes, and again, he'll have 1 and a bit training sessions in his legs. Aston Villa, Everton, classic Premier League tie that, isn't it? Aston Villa at home, you would have to fancy them. Bournemouth, Chelsea is a good game, and that is one that I'm going to take a deeper look at. So we're looking at the last 25 games for both of these teams, and you can see Chelsea, I said this last season, every time I covered Chelsea, the problem is not scoring goals, the problem was conceding goals, and this season it's sort of been the same story. They just don't look comfortable at the back at times, but I think they will get there. There has not been a 0-0 in any game across the last 25, so 50 games combined between these two teams. No 0-0s. BTTS in 70% of all those games for Chelsea. Over 2.5 goals in 78% of games as well. They've scored 6 already in one game this season, and they've scored 2 or more in 70% of those games as well. So Chelsea to score away at Bournemouth. So we'll take a look at Bournemouth's form. They are actually unbeaten in the Premier League this season. This was a cup game against West Ham. Quite a few draws, and BTTS in the majority of those games as well. You can see the previous game against Chelsea was a 2-1 defeat at the back end of last season. Before that, a 0-0 in 2023. So Chelsea have scored 2 or more in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of the last 6 games. Chelsea have scored 2 or more. I think we can see goals in this one. Let's jump to the player props tool. So Bournemouth, Chelsea, who's going to score? Let's take a look at fouls, actually. Justin Kluivert. I do like wingers for fouls sometimes. They're busy, aren't they? Closing down. They've got jobs to do. Kluivert's been playing so far this season. Caicedo for a foul. Evanilson. He's looked good. He missed a sitter, didn't he? He was inches away from getting his first goal for the club in the Premier League. He commits fouls, but I actually quite fancy him to have a shot and hopefully open his account. He's going to have been on the training ground with Iriola all week during the international break, and I think Bournemouth will look to win this game. Certainly, they play without fear. So in terms of fouls, you've got these players. Let's have a look at shots on target, so we can just see Cole Palmer at the top of the pile, probably. Yes, Cole Palmer, 53 shots in his last 18 games, and again, he's another one. He wasn't involved with England, was he? But he's going to play this game. There's no doubt about that. Jackson, who's been in good form. Madueke, who set up Harry Kane's second goal for England. And Nkunku, yet to be seen how he fits into the team. Semenyo, one of the top performers for XG this season in the Premier League, interestingly. And the last bet builder we did for Chelsea was 6-1, and it was all coming in until the 92nd minute when Crystal Palace had a corner to level the corner count. We had Chelsea to have the most corners, and it's something that I quite like, but not away at Bournemouth. I wouldn't go for that. So Chelsea evens is actually quite enticing. Cole Palmer, I'm going to not touch him just in case he is on the bench for this one. I mean, I've seen pictures and videos of him training, so I think he'll be right. Do we have fouls committed? We do. Where is Evanilson? What was he called? Evanilson. He's not even listed. Surprise, shock. The player that you want is not there. So as I say, Evanilson, I would have liked to have him on for a foul, but I am going to go score or assist. I do like this market at the moment, score or assist, and especially for someone like him. I think Fulkrug as well at West Ham is a good option for that. Any West Ham player, as I've said in previous videos, any of those 4 that play across the front for West Ham to score or assist are great in most games, whether it's Bowen, Kudus, Paqueta, Somerville, Fulkrug, the way he plays, to score or assist, decent. So again, for him to score or assist, this is the base of the bet builder. Now let's take a look at some other markets. Interesting for Bournemouth is that they score a lot of their goals in the second half, 26 compared to 9 across the last 25 games. For Chelsea, it's quite evenly matched, 1 per game compared to 1.3 per game. Bournemouth have received a card in 92% of games across this period, 85% for Chelsea. I think with the trickery of Bournemouth and both teams, to be honest, both teams to get a card bumps it up to 2.51. Not bad at all. Now, Bournemouth are taking a lot of shots this season, 13, 16 and 17. 16 shots against Newcastle, 17 against Everton. It's getting progressively better for them, isn't it? And for Chelsea, 10, 14 and 13. So they only had 14 against Wolves, and they were very clinical. They scored 6 of them. So let's have a look at the shots market, shall we? So I'm going to go with 25.5 shots, which gets us to 3.10. Let me know what you think about that one. And again, we are resting on Ivan Nielsen to score or assist. Big game for him. Let me know what you think about that one in the comments. On to the North London derby. So a couple of games on Sunday. Newcastle away at Wolves. Tottenham, Arsenal, the first game, 2 p.m. And Portsmouth, West Brom, a prime Barclays clash there in the Championship now. And Tottenham, Arsenal, we'll take a look at this one. We will again look at the last 25 games. In fact, let's just take a look at how these teams are doing so far. Tottenham have actually had more corners than any other team in the league. If we look at their corners here, so they had 12 away at Newcastle, they had 12 at home to Everton, and they had 13 away at Leicester City. Will Solanke start this game? If he does, I think it's a massive, massive boost and a massive advantage, to be honest, for Tottenham. Because for Arsenal, as we can see, their corner counts, they're pretty lower. So Tottenham to have the most corners, 2.4. I think that is a good option given how they play. Going to be getting it wide to Brennan Johnson, Kulusevski, Son, and trying to whip balls in to Solanke if he's playing. There was a lot of times against Newcastle, against Everton, was it as well, where he just wasn't there, of course, because he was injured, but the ball was still pretty good from Brennan Johnson or whoever. So for Tottenham to have the most corners here, to keep the ball, to try and control the game. And remember, it's a game without Rice. It's a game without Ødegaard. So you're thinking maybe Jorginho, Partey in the middle, Havertz potentially playing in midfield. Yeah, and we saw the lower corner count there for Arsenal so far this season. Tottenham to have the most corners, 2.4. It's a very, very good base for the bet builder. I'm also going to add over 1.5 cards in the second half. I looked at some data the other day because I saw that there was a market, a card in the first 15 minutes, 6-1. And it was enticing, but then when you look at the actual history between these teams, if we just look at the head-to-head, what you can see is that there actually isn't cards. This is a card here, bang on 15 minutes. I think it was first 10 minutes, actually, the market. But you can see here, there's a trend. The first card comes on or after 15 minutes. In the last, well, we're in 2020 here. The referee wants to keep his card in his pocket in this fixture, but then towards the end of the game, there are cards. So over 1.5 cards in the second half. As you can see, it's landed in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and probably more than that. North London derbies. And Son Heung-min for a shot on target takes it to 4.75. Solanke takes it to 5s. These are pretty generous odds for a bet builder, I think. And of course, it's all about predictions, isn't it? How do you think Arsenal will play without those two massive, massive players, Ødegaard and Rice, both missing for this game? People are saying Saka's going to play in midfield. I can't see that working myself personally. They do have Raheem Sterling potentially to make a debut in this game. So if they do need to move stuff around, he could potentially come in. I'm liking Son for a shot because he's definitely going to start. Son for a shot on target. Solanke, though, if he starts, I believe he will have a shot. I believe he will score. So it's up to you. I am going to go for the safer option of Son Heung-min because he loves it. And I believe he will still take penalties as well, even though Solanke is there. So 4.75. Most corners, Tottenham. They've had more corners than any other team in the Premier League this season. Over 1 card in the second half. We've seen it in the last 10 and counting North London derbies. And Heung-min Son to have a shot on target. He found his shooting boots in the previous weeks, didn't he, in the Premier League? Will he score? What will the score prediction be? Remember, this is the question I asked at the start of the video. If you want to win OddAlerts Pro, just comment down below. what you think will happen in this game. I can't wait for it, and I'm glad that it's at the earlier time of 2 p.m. We don't have to wait until 4:30 or whatever on Sunday. So that was the Premier League. Now let's look at the EFL and put together a treble. So we're going to put together an over 1.5 goals treble from the EFL for Saturday, and then what we'll do is put together a BTTS filter. So for the EFL filter, what we're going to do is actually lean on the probability model, and we're going to say 75% or more. And then we're going to filter for the odds, because we want this treble to be evens or above for the treble. So we hit search and we get games. We get a game from Korea. We get a game from the Championship, a couple of games. Oxford, Stoke. Oxford have been good goal scorers recently, haven't they? Every game at home so far, so 2 out of 2. I know it's early doors, isn't it? But they have scored in both of those home games as well, Oxford. And every home game for them is like a cup final as they bid to stay in the Championship. Derby, Cardiff as well coming in. We've got a game from Scotland. League 2, Barrow. Good goal scorers. Bristol Rovers, Wigan as well. So actually, in terms of the odds that are available, we are quite limited, but that's good. It's a short list, isn't it? So let's put on, if we check for the probability model here, we can see 1.29 implied odds and 1.3 implied odds for these two Championship games. So let's go Oxford. It's an early game, isn't it? So it could be done and dusted. We'll go Oxford. Stoke. 1.3 for that one, and then we will look at Grimsby Barrow. Now I remember Barrow have let me down for something this season. They've had a few 1-0s, I'm sure. They've had 3 1-0s, and away from home they've only scored once so far, but Grimsby are conceding quite a few goals. So let's have a look at the odds for this one, because I imagine they should be a little bit higher, certainly not around 1.2 or something like that. 1.33. Okay, let's go for this one. It's a little bit risky, but as you can see, we're at 1.73 already just with the double. So the final game we will add. I actually fancy my own team, Blackpool. They're not on this list because of the odds. They're about 1.2 odds, I think. Bristol Rovers, Wigan. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at the last 25 games, shall we? Look at the goals scored. 0.93, not great. In terms of 0-0, very low percentages, though, and over 1.5 goals, very high percentages, 77% and 79%. If we look at the overall form, it drops a bit for Wigan away from home. Let's see how they're doing this season so far. Not very good. I think I will skip that game. Although they've had a tough start. They played Reading away and Birmingham away, Bristol Rovers. Yeah, no, this one doesn't look good to me. Let me know what you think about that one in the comments. I'm going to go with Blackpool. And I will show you why. I won't just have you take my word for it. Blackpool, Exeter. At 1.22, this should get us over evens as well. But since we sacked Critchley, you can see the results here. We've been scoring and conceding for fun. So you can see there we lost to Stockport 3-0, and then we had a 4-4, 1-2, 2-2, and 4-1. So we are unbeaten, scoring plenty of goals. We beat Blackburn away, scoring twice there as well. And Exeter, good goal scoring team. They've scored away from home in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, they're a decent team. So Steve Bruce's first game as well, of course. He'll want to hopefully show what he's about in terms of the way he sets up the team. And I think he will bring confidence to the young players that we do have at Blackpool. So over 1.5 goals for Oxford United versus Stoke, Grimsby Barrow, and Blackpool Exeter. That is the EFL Treble this weekend. Let me know what you think about that one in the comments. Hopefully a winner. We had a winner last week, didn't we? 3.44 odds because we mixed and matched a few different markets, but I'm feeling the over 1.5 goal treble this weekend. So let me know what you think about that one in the comments. And next we are going to create a filter for BTTS. So this is off the cuff because people have asked me how I find these games, and let's go 5 games played or more, and then we're going to go for the away team. I always like to look at away teams that are doing pretty well, so we'll see 1.4 points per game for the away team. Let's qualify as well that the away team has scored in 70% of all games or more, and some of these leagues will be just getting underway. That's why we're being a bit more cautious with it. We'll hopefully have a good list of games that we can look at. When you get a list back from the quick filter, it doesn't just mean every one of these games is going to be BTTS. Now for the home team, let's have a look at that as well. Let's look at home teams that have got 1 point or fewer maximum so far. So pretty poor home teams, but home teams that can score. Let's say they've scored in 70% of games. So we're adding quite a few rules here. Let's see if we get any games. I'm recording this on Thursday. No games on Thursday. Next 5 days, we get games. We get games, indeed. We get games on Friday from Bulgaria. We get games from Sweden. We get games from the Oberliga, a beautiful, beautiful league. We get games from Northern Ireland, Poland, Romania, Serbia, Croatia, Canada, Slovenia, MLS, Mexico, Austria, Sweden, and Romania. So that is the short list, and that is the filter. And of course, you can adjust it to fit any market that you want. There are so many rules in here, and you can combine them and combine hundreds of rules if you want to, and you can also filter on live data as well, like XG. So on Saturday at 3 p.m, if you create a filter based on XG, you can find all the games where, let's say, no goals but high XG for both teams. They're very, very good opportunities in play. Filter on dangerous attacks, filter on the odds as well. So that's the filter. I will share this as the pinned comment as well. And this has been a long video, longer than I thought. But let me know if you've enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. Run the outro.